It's a budget that reflects my conversations with many of you here today. It includes Democratic ideas, Republican ideas, and clearly ideas that exist beyond party lines. It's rooted in the values of fairness, inclusion, and common sense. It's a balanced budget, and it eliminates our $2.3 billion deficit. But above all, it recognizes that Pennsylvania will not improve until we rebuild the middle class, to give Pennsylvania the fresh start it needs to get back on track. The plan I'm unveiling today dramatically invests in schools that have been devastated by cuts to prepare our kids for middle-class jobs. It cuts taxes to attract companies that will create jobs that pay middle-class wages. It streamlines bureaucracy and cuts red tape to create a government that works. And it does so while cutting property taxes paid by the average homeowner by 50%. And reducing the total tax burden on average middle-class families. These are some of the things I've talked about since I started running for governor almost 2 years ago. They boil down to 3 big themes that I hope will define my time in office. First, schools that teach. Because for our children to succeed tomorrow, every child must have access to a great education today. And teachers must have the resources they need to deliver a great education. Second, jobs that pay. Because for our economy to begin humming again, we need to be good partners with the private sector, enabling it to grow and create good jobs that will strengthen our middle-class families. And third, government that works. Because for our state to be great again, we need a government that is more efficient, less wasteful, one that restores faith in the fundamental notion that our democracy still works. We need a new approach. We need to question the decisions that got us where we are today. Let's start with schools. Our commitment to education is historic. We are starting with education because in many ways, education is at the heart of everything else we want to achieve. When I ran a business, finding talented people with a strong education was my highest priority. It's what made my company competitive in the marketplace. A great system of public education will help Pennsylvania attract new businesses, retain talent, and grow the middle class. We need schools that help teach our kids the 21st century skills they need to compete and win against kids from China and India and Germany. Over the past 4 years, Pennsylvania took a step in the wrong direction by trying to balance our state budget on the backs of our schools. And that is why the very first thing my budget does is to restore the $1 billion in cuts to public education that occurred under the previous administration. This is not going to stop at simply reversing the cuts that have already taken place. We can't, because the way things were before is not good enough. For too long, we have not paid enough attention to the fact that Pennsylvania ranks near the bottom of the country in state investments in kindergarten through 12th grade education. We need to change that. This budget increases our investment in public schools at every grade level. It also recognizes that our responsibility to provide a great education does not begin at kindergarten, nor does it end with high school. We need a historic commitment to education, and we're making it today. Now, I'm sure that all sounds great, and many of you are probably wondering, how are we going to pay for it? You might hear me, thank you very much. Thank you. You might hear me talking about education funding and assume that that means your taxes are going to go up. But in fact, my budget actually reduces the total tax burden on average middle-class homeowners by 13%. So, how will we do it? We'll do it with tax reforms that are smart, pragmatic, and fair. We'll do it with changes that will help eliminate the deficit, protect the middle class, and set the table for robust private sector growth. It starts by doing what every other major gas-producing state has already done. We're going to place a severance tax on the extraction of natural gas. And we are going to tie the revenues from the tax to funding for public education. Officially, our plan is known as the Pennsylvania Education Reinvestment Act. I'm proposing a 5% severance tax that is projected to generate more than $1 billion in annual revenues. The impact fee dollars will be preserved and will continue to support communities where drilling takes place. But under my plan, while local communities will continue to receive funding to address the impact of the drilling, the rest of these funds will be used to invest in public education. This is not about politics. This is not about politics or ideology. It's simply common sense. Natural gas production is growing faster in Pennsylvania than anywhere else in the country, yet we are the only major producer of natural gas, the only producer of natural gas that does not ask drillers to pay their fair share or provide a return on our resources. The fact is, consumers in Pennsylvania are already paying a severance tax every time they fill up their tanks with gasoline. Only they're paying it to states like Oklahoma, to Texas, to West Virginia, and every other state with a tax on oil and gas drilling. Why should those states get our money without Pennsylvania getting some of theirs in return? So this isn't a partisan idea. It's a recognition that Pennsylvanians are right now getting a bad deal. We deserve to be fairly compensated for the use of our resources. The benefits of this change don't end there either. By shifting the cost of public education away from local districts, we're also going to drastically reduce property taxes. Now, to grow our middle class, our citizens must have access to the education and training that today's jobs require. That's why we're proposing to restore job training and apprenticeship programs at our community colleges to help middle-class families make the transition to jobs in this new economy. In Pennsylvania, we're also blessed with an abundance of natural resources, of course, gas, timber, coal, sun, wind, fresh water, open spaces, agricultural land, beautiful scenery, and an opportune location that makes us the Keystone State. Not long ago, we were one of the top wind and solar producing states in the country, using the green economy to create jobs. But we took our eye off the ball and fell behind. To fulfill our potential, we must take full and responsible advantage of these resources. Right now, we export raw products like timber to other states and to other countries, who then use those raw materials to create higher value products, like kitchen cabinets. This doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't we make those high value products right here in Pennsylvania? That way we'll have both the resources and the jobs those resources make possible. We'll train Pennsylvanians to work in the shale fields. Pennsylvanians will manufacture the steel pipe and the tanks to transport and hold the gas, and the technologies to clean the water. And here's the additional opportunity. With shale gas, we can offer affordable energy and we can provide the feedstock necessary in advanced manufacturing businesses. Our natural resources, our well-trained and well-paid workforce, our growing businesses, that's what my plan enables us to achieve together. This is a budget that respects and honors the great potential of this state and of our people. The ideas that I am proposing today represent a starting point, and we need to get started right away, because today Pennsylvania stands at a crossroads. We have a $2.3 billion deficit, we have an education crisis, and a sluggish economy. Our credit rating has been downgraded 5 times in a row, making us one of the least creditworthy states in the nation. And since the beginning of 2011, Pennsylvania has been near the bottom in the country in job creation. That's clearly not acceptable. Now, I'm not here to assign blame or pretend that I have all the answers. The reality is, times have changed, and ideas that may have worked in the past simply aren't working anymore. It's time to do something different and work together to get this state back on track. Our budget should be as bold and ambitious as Pennsylvania has been over the past 300 years. Today, I laid out my plan, and I'm going to fight for it.